Give a certain book to a child and let's see if she can read the words immediately. Leave the book to her and the next thing you know, the pages are all gone and crumpled. What do you think is missing here? Of course, it's guidance. Children cannot learn automatically how to read just by being exposed to reading materials, but rather, in order for them to learn this important skill, they need an explicit and systematic instruction from a teacher or from a family member.
Effective teaching of reading is an important aspect, as reading does not come as naturally as speaking. The question is, how can we teach all children to read accurately, rapidly, and with comprehension? The National Reading Panel Report provides an answer to this question. The National Reading Panel Report, particularly the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, summarized several decades of scientific research that clearly shows effective reading instruction that addresses 5 critical areas. Number 1, phonemic awareness. Number 2, phonics. Number 3, fluency. Number 4, vocabulary. And last, but definitely not the least, comprehension or reading comprehension. These 5 areas were incorporated into the No Child Left Behind Act and the Reading First initiative as essential components of effective reading instruction. These 5 fundamental elements can be taught in a variety of ways. There are differences between these approaches in the amount of direction or guidance that teachers give while students are learning new abilities, the directness and clarity with which teachers describe new skills, whether or not they give specific examples of how to use a particular ability, and whether or not the skills are taught in a deliberate order. And it says here on the learning material, the National Reading Panel's examination of scientific studies showed that these various strategies for teaching the 5 fundamental components are not at all successful. The method known as systematic and explicit education is the most consistently successful one. But what are these? Systematic instruction reflects several important characteristics. Skills and concepts are taught in a planned, logically progressive sequence. For example, certain sounds, those that are easier to learn or those used more often in the words students will read, are taught before other sounds. Lessons focus on clearly defined objectives that are stated in terms of what students will do. On the other hand, explicit instruction means the teacher states clearly what is being taught and models effectively how it is used by a skilled reader. For example, in demonstrating how to blend sounds to pronounce an unfamiliar word, explicit instruction might sound like this. Students, I'll show you how to sound out this word. Listen carefully, I'll say the sound for each letter without stopping between the sounds. So explicit instruction ensures students' attention is drawn to important features of an example or demonstration. Just a reminder, a simple activity is waiting at the end of the video. Just make sure that you watch this video from beginning to end. Now let's get serious. A report by the World Bank in 2021 highlighted that the Philippines' learning poverty, defined as the share of 10-year-old children who cannot read and understand a simple story, was estimated at 69.5% in 2019. This is based on trends in International Mathematics and Science Study 2003 outcomes. On the other hand, based on the Southeast Asia Primary Learning Metrics from 2019, as published in UNICEF report on the state of learning poverty, the country's learning poverty is at 90.9%. Imagine that. According to World Bank, school closures and learning loss during the pandemic can have a long-term negative impact on the current cohort of school children, and these 2 factors are likely to affect the children's economic potential and productivity in adulthood. Now, why am I saying this? I want you folks to take this lesson seriously. As my groupmates present their assigned topics, let us try our best to grasp these components of reading, because these will be our instruments in guiding our learners, not just to teach them how to read, but also to perceive the world around them. Now, for your simple activity, I want you guys to take down at least 3 key takeaways from the video that you just watched.
Aside from that, I want you to recall your experience during your childhood when you were first exposed to reading and list down all the strategies that were used by your teacher or by your family member.